And here's Barco nipping through. Gressel arriving. Can he get there? He can! And it's a deft finish!
Vela. Here's Rossi. 3-2.
LAFC!
Yes, sir. Bob Bradley. LAFC got the monkey off their back in the playoffs. The LA Galaxy. You gon' see ya. Zlatan, maybe we'll see ya. A massive win for the black and gold at Bank of California Stadium. Welcome to the AT&T MLS Studios. I'm Andrew Wiebe. This is Charlie Davies, Sacha, Kljestan, Matt Doyle. Don't act surprised, folks. You knew this was coming. It is El Tráfico. It is the playoffs. It is everything we could have hoped for and more. We've got the highlights. We've got interviews with Will Ferrell on the field at Bank of California Stadium. But first, clear your minds, boys. What do you think? What just happened here? What did we witness?
We witnessed the coach of the year come out with a game plan that no one expected, sit back, invite them to come play in their half, and counter. And then on top of that, MVP Carlos Vela shined as we expected. But then Adama Diomande coming back into the fold, 2 goals off the bench, nearly a hat trick. Just the play. What a game.
What an emotional roller coaster. And you said it, Sacha. We're watching this. You're like, no, it's not over. No, there's more goals. Oh, no, it's going to keep coming. And it did, over and over and over.
Yeah, I said before the game, these LA El Tráficos, they've been about emotion and momentum. And so there's so much emotion tied up in this game. And every time the momentum swung, every time Galaxy got themselves back in the game, LAFC came back with a goal and either took the lead or extended their lead. And that was what Bob was talking about after the game, the mentality. After losing and tying so many games to the Galaxy, never beating them, getting them to not back down this time, to not think, oh crap, here it goes again. You know, another game against Galaxy where we have a lead, we give it up. Their mentality was very strong tonight. They deserve to win.
They were never going to choke like that in this game. Get lost, Sacha. Just get lost. It was a spectacle. You want games in this time of the year between rivals like this. You want it to be a spectacle, and it was. Both teams delivered, not just through the 90 minutes, but past the 90 minutes between Zlatan doing Zlatan things, Bob with that bizarre interview with Sebi Salazar.
There's nothing bizarre.
There was nothing bizarre.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, we knew this game was going to be like this. I hope every El Tráfico is like this because as a fan of soccer, watching a game like that, it's awesome.
Galaxy were the sand trap for LAFC. They were stuck in it, just swinging, just hacking, couldn't get out. 5 tries, and Charlie, on the 6th, they got out of that one. Will Ferrell was on the scene. You saw him on the broadcast. Susannah Collins caught up with him after this match. Our AT&T call to the field.
Will, they finally did it. It took 6 tries, but they finally beat the Galaxy. How excited are you?
You know, I think if we could have traded those 5 games to win this game, we'd do it in a heartbeat. So what a great way to win finally in the playoffs, beat the Galaxy.
I mean, you couldn't draw it up
no, you really
better.
couldn't.
I want to know what was going through your mind when you guys went up 2-0, but then immediately the Galaxy come back and score. Were you just thinking, oh God, here we go again?
We were all high-fiving and still celebrating, and then next thing you know, the Galaxy were cheering, and we couldn't figure out why. It was because they had scored a goal. So yeah, I guess just a little bit of a mental lapse, and but you know what, they really persevered tonight in an incredible way, and I mean, these guys are the envy of the league, and it's so
How
great
much
to have
fun is it to be an LAFC fan right now?
It's so much fun, and it's like the gift that keeps on giving. I kid you not, there's still, there's 15 million people in LA, so there's still a lot of people who still need to discover this place.
I mean, just saying,
Yeah.
it's off the radar.
Yeah.
Seattle, up next. How do you feel about that matchup?
You know what? It's going to be tough. They're playing really well at the right time, and see, I know my stuff. But I I mean, this was a huge mountain to get over the top of, and we'll just see.
Decompress. You can breathe. You can breathe, Will. Breathe.
Around Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So
We'll be right back
I got to
there.
stay limber.
Do it.
Yeah.
Rest up. Stretch. Very important.
Up to you how limber you think Will Ferrell is. Beautiful tifo before the game from the 32-52 Carlos Vela. The depiction, and then he came out and was who he was for the entirety of the regular season. 34 goals in the regular season, couple in this match, the first two. I mean, this is how you cook it up. This is what you expect from Carlos Vela, Sacha.
He's a superstar. He's been a superstar all season. He's continuing what he's done all season. He's the MVP, and he got the team on his back again tonight.
And then here come the Galaxy, because when LAFC do that, the Galaxy come back, Doyle. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, the game went off the rails right there with that first goal, and then this one, a giveaway at the back, and then 5 holes, Tyler Miller, who probably would want to do better on this one right there because Zlatan didn't get all of it. And suddenly you're thinking, oh my God, it's going to happen again. El Tráfico always delivers, but so does this guy. Like Carlos Vela, the strength, the vision, finds Diego Rossi. And I've been saying all year, do you trust Diego Rossi in a big game, in a big moment to be a match winner? Certainly do after tonight.
3-2, and then they would sort of pour it on because they had to make sure that they got this thing done. Diomande's back. He's been out for a while. He came back 10 days ago, started training with the team, and gets the goal. But then Rolf Felcher comes back and gets a goal, and it's 4-3. And you're thinking, okay, Zlatan's going to get the goal, and then Charlie, choo-choo. Here he goes. That's a train, man.
Oh my word! What a goal! He made him look like Lionel Messi. But what I love about it
with
is
about 70 pounds on it.
maybe 115. But
Oh man.
the fact is, someone who leaves for an extended amount of time as an absence to get better and comes back into the fold, makes their introduction to the game in the second half and scores 2 goals, lifts the team up, and you see how everyone wanted him to succeed. And like the smile on his face, and for him to lead the chant at the end of the game, it's just a special moment. I couldn't be more happy for a player like that.
8 goals, that ties the most in MLS playoff history, all the way back to 1998. We have 3 of the top 5 most highest scoring goal games in this playoffs. It's incredible stuff. There are your stats, 5-3. I mean, only 12 shots for LAFC. Didn't have the possession.
It was rope-a-dope, Wiebe. And this was what Bob Bradley said at halftime. We wanted to figure out how to get the Galaxy to come up the field and play a little bit more soccer, which would expose them for the counterattack. So they didn't take a lot of shots. They took high-quality shots. You saw it, tap-ins, finishes from inside the 6, good interplay. It was a different-looking LAFC, and I don't think the Galaxy were ready for it.
I think none of us saw this coming.
No.
Really, when we talked about it, we kind of said before, we don't think Bob's going to change much. They've been so successful. He loves the way they play. He's all about the football. But you could see when he talked at halftime, he had that little kind of sly smile that, none of us saw this coming. He said, we're going to sit back a little. We created a little bit more space in behind. We went on the counter. They created 2 goals that way. And then in the second half, they kind of snuck that momentum back every time.
I think what really changed his mind in his approach was watching that match against Minnesota, where LA Galaxy just literally sat back, 4 center backs. And the way to get behind them is to bring them out, because they're comfortable when you play the game in front of them. But as soon as you expose them and there's a lot of space in behind, that's when things get uncomfortable. And that's where you can make things happen. And when you have Rossi on the one side and Rodriguez on the other, just making rampant runs, and then you get Carlos Vela moving around, pulling center backs out of position, it was a work of beauty.
And I do want to say, I think personnel has something to do with this as well, because no Mark Anthony Kaye maybe makes it a little bit harder to go high and hard with that press. So Lee Nguyen slides in for him. Lee Nguyen had 3 secondary assists today. He was able to open up the game from deep with his passing, with his vision. Time and time again, he delivered in this game. It was a really smart game plan from Bob Bradley. I must call him Brad Bobley. Bob Bradley, and the players delivered for him.
Let's see what Lee Nguyen had to say after this game. Another AT&T called the field, back out to Vega California Stadium.
All right, Lee, at long last, you finally get that LA Galaxy monkey off your back in front of your own fans. What does this moment mean for you?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, everybody was saying just that. We haven't been able to beat them, but we showed today a big moment when it mattered most. Team came through in the clutch, and all the guys, did what needed to be done.
When they came back after you guys had gone up 2 goals and they scored so quickly, what was going through the team's mind, and how did you guys kind of get back into that mentality of we need to stop this now?
Yeah, just had to stay composed. Like I said, we played them many times and it's been back and forth a lot, so we just needed to stay composed, gather ourselves, and know that we're going to get more chances, and when we did, we made it count.
Seattle up next. How do you beat them?
Just like today. Just got to put it in. So, I mean, all the guys put in the great shift. Now we got to get ready again Tuesday, Wednesday.
Congrats, Lee.
Playing the big moments.
All right, here's El Tráfico series history, and I don't think I have to read this off. I don't think you even have to look at it. You know that LAFC had not won a game against their biggest rival ever coming into tonight. So now they're over the hump, and they're over the hump at the perfect time, Sacha. You said this was about emotion. It was about momentum. What will this mean to this locker room? What will it mean to this club?
This means so much, I think, to LAFC. I just keep going back to what Bob said after the game, mentality. He said, it was all about our mentality. They could have buckled when it got to 2-2, and they could have all been thinking in the back of their minds, here we go again. We've been through this before, but I think they all blocked that out. They probably talked about it all week, about being mentally tough in the tough moments, and tonight they were really tough.
He had a little bit of a pushback, let's say, on Sebi Salazar in his post-game interview. But before that, the 2 questions, you remarked, Charlie, you thought that was the happiest you'd seen Bob maybe ever.
He was elated. I mean, he couldn't be more proud of the growth that this team shown, the character, to battle back, to not collapse when things were going so well for this team. And every time LA thought they got back into the game, like Sacha said, they scored a goal, punched them back in the mouth and said, no, we're winning this game. We're staying on top.
Helps when you have Carlos Vela, 36 goals and counting between regular season and the postseason, Doyle. Put this in perspective. You've watched this league for a long time. What he's doing, it feels unmatched. The numbers are certainly unmatched.
Unmatched is a good word for it. Like he has already had the greatest single regular season in league history. I don't think there's any question about that. And now he's just carried that into the postseason. This was the game. You know, people were, whether it was the biggest game or the most anticipated, like this was the game. Everybody wanted to see El Tráfico in the playoffs, wanted to see how LAFC would react, wanted to see if Carlos Vela would go out there and punk Zlatan and show him, you know what, it is my league. He did all of that and more. It was just a magnificent performance, and it's a credit to LAFC that you kind of expect it from them at this point.
We're going to keep this conversation rolling, but for now, we're going back out to Bank of California Stadium. Bob Bradley live at the dais.
As you go through a season and you continue to grow and mature, and then putting it all on the line at that point in the game, I couldn't be prouder. Scored some amazing goals. And again, it's about over time and derbies. I know there's been some amazing moments so far, but I'll say it again. To see our group really respond at that point the way they did, that's something special.
Bob, right here.
Yes.
I've been around you guys all season. I know that's something although this is going to be a big game for a lot of people and they're going to talk about it, the stated goal from the beginning of the year hasn't been to win the Derby game. It's been to win MLS Cup.
Sure.
And, how does this victory help you guys on that journey? And you have this quick turnaround already on Tuesday against Seattle. Can you just talk a little bit about what this game might mean for this team going forward towards that Cup run?
Yeah, I mean, we take a lot of good things out of tonight, and there's a proud feeling of how we keep moving ourselves along, and yet when you talk to everybody inside, they're all focused already about the next game, and you can tell that this was just an important win, but now we got to move on, and Seattle's a good team, and these playoff games in this format, man, they're crazy, all right, and so we have to rebound quickly. We've done a good job of that this year, and I think leadership in the team. Yes, we always talk about Carlos, but guys like Steve Beitashour and Jordan and others, the group has continued to develop in all those ways. And I'm a stickler with the football all the time. And as I said, tonight, from a pure football standpoint, wasn't even close to our best. But in that game, that's the way it's going to be sometimes. And so you just have to make sure that guys understand that and that at a certain point can raise the level. So I thought that part was great.
Hi, Bob. Incredible game.
Three winners against the LA Galaxy. Of course, you know that the Sounders knocked off RSL as well. 2-0. They're on. It is LAFC Seattle Sounders in the conference finals, October 29th. ESPN, TSN, TVA, 10 p.m. Eastern. We will be here for pregame and postgame shows, praying that maybe it gets as wild as it did tonight against LAFC. Now, there were some questions about this team coming into these playoffs. The break that they had, the sort of middling form comparative to their beginning of the season, and the injuries to both Walker Zimmerman and Mark-Anthony Kaye. Did LAFC, in your mind, Doyle, alleviate all the concerns, or is there any concern left about their status as favorites and prohibitive MLS Cup hosts?
They are prohibitive favorites. The Sounders are going to have their work cut out for them to hang in this game with LAFC. I would feel a lot more comfortable with that if Mark-Anthony Kaye was 100% healthy. Again, I think the way that LAFC played had a lot to do with not having Mark-Anthony Kaye, and like Bob Bradley said, this wasn't even close to their best soccer, and I think those two things are kind of linked. That said, they just showed what they can do without him. They can, score 5 goals in a playoff game with all the pressure on them. So they answered a lot of questions tonight, but the Sounders have been here before. Sounders know how to ask questions too.
The only question that this LAFC team had was, can they tame Zlatan Ibrahimovic? Zlatan was the boogeyman for LAFC, and they conquered their fear. They got by them. They did what they needed to do to win the game. And that was not the prettiest soccer that Bob Bradley had said, but it was changing the way they played to get over the hump. They did that. Now they're going to, I would imagine, go back to the way they play against the Seattle team, which is just going to be fine with sitting and countering in a similar way that LA Galaxy tried to do, wanted to do tonight. So it's going to be an exciting game, and I think we're going to try and see Jordan Morris has to be the hero for Seattle if they are to win the game.
How scary is it, though, when Bob says that's not even our best soccer, and we pounded in 5, and it could have been 7?
What about Carlos Vela with the Rabona to Lee Win, who does the back heel?
That would have been the best goal maybe in playoff history.
I would have run around the block with my shirt off.
They're obviously a very good team. They're very talented. They're the odds-on favorite for sure.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And they have that little bit of toughness now. I doubt, there was always a hint of doubt in this team in big games, whether it was knockout games in the Open Cup, whether it was last year in the playoffs, whether it was against the Galaxy in these El Traficos. Gone.
I'm already thinking of the storylines. LAFC versus Toronto FC, Bob Bradley versus Michael Bradley. Whoa.
We gotta wait.
Sounders fans. Sounders fans are going to be at you, Charlie.
I'm just saying, or LAFC,
Davies 9.
or LAFC versus Atlanta, defending champs. In LA.
There's some rich veins right there. We'll see what happens.
Or Seattle-Toronto. Or Seattle-Toronto. Seattle-Toronto rematch. I mean, the storylines are limitless.
You know what is a great storyline as well? Adama Diomande coming back, scoring the game winner, and the one that put this thing on ice. Susannah Collins chatted with him after this match.
All right, Dio. It took 6 tries to beat this Galaxy team, but in the most important of circumstances, you guys get it done. How did you do it?
No, we live in the present. What happened in the last games? Yeah, we lost and we didn't get the result, and we were hungry for more. And when it finally counts, we up. The team effort, we're coming back and scoring a lot of goals. And I'm just glad to be back again, first game, and I'm just happy for this club that we advanced for our first playoff game.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen you on the pitch, but you get a brace tonight. For you personally, what does it mean to have that kind of performance?
Personally, it was an emotional game for me. I've been gone for personal issues, and I'm just happy to be back with this crowd, and fantastic crowd, and being in some big games. I love playing big games, and I'm just happy to be here and happy for the game.
Seattle Sounders up next. How do you feel you guys match up against that team?
No, every game is difficult, and we're gonna do everything to win this match, and just have some rest in the last few days now, and just prepare for Seattle.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to bring out the Reaper. You've seen it before. Last season in the playoffs, Matt Doyle taking souls. Once you're out of the Audi 2019 MLS Cup Playoffs, you know who's coming for you. The scythe is out. Doyle, it's the Galaxy's turn.
Yeah, it is the Galaxy's turn, maybe a little bit sooner than they want, definitely a little bit sooner than they wanted it. But if you look back, 2017, dead last. 2018, just missed the playoffs. 2019, you get in, you put the fear of God into what I think is the best team of all time. It's progress. But what it's not, what it doesn't look like, is sustainable progress. And this is what the Galaxy have to figure out. Because Zlatan wasn't a one-man fix. Pavone, not a one-man fix. Jonathan Dos Santos, playing like he played this year, was not a one-man fix. You couldn't hide the fact that this team still cannot defend. And it's not about 5 goals tonight against LAFC. It's about 4 goals on decision day against the Houston Dynamo. It's about 4 goals at home against the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's about constantly putting yourself behind the ball against teams that you should beat with ease. The Galaxy still have to fix their defense. They have to fix their culture. Whether or not Zlatan is back, it's more than Zlatan. The Galaxy are still a little bit off kilter. 2020, it's got to get better.
We shall see. 2020 will come quickly for Dennis Teclosa and the LA Galaxy. But for now, LAFC, you going to bring it back with you? Yeah. I appreciate that. Right at the shot.
Living here. I'm going to take one of these clowns off.
Okay. All right. Watch yourselves, boys. Don't say something that Doyle disagrees with. Zlatan's future is up in the air. LAFC tonight said get lost. Will he be back? Will he say, you know what, this was not the way I can end it. I have something to prove in MLS. Here I come again.
I'm torn because I want to see him back in MLS, but I really don't believe he's going to be back because we haven't heard him say anything about continuing his career here, with whether it's in MLS or with LA Galaxy. So in my mind, if he does play, it's not going to be in the United States.
If this is the end of Zlatan in MLS, Sacha, what will sort of the big picture legacy be for him in your eyes?
On a personal level, I think he came and he conquered. I think for him personally, he showed up coming off a big knee injury. I think he always talked about proving to himself that he still had something in the tank. He scored a ton of goals. He scored a ton of highlight reel goals. He said a lot of stuff that made us laugh. And he was a superstar. The guy's a superstar. I think MLS was better for having him in the league for the last 2 years. I guess we'll see what happens.
I mean, he made our jobs easier. I'll say that. Like every night or every Sunday night when we did this show throughout the year, it seemed like we had something to talk about from Zlatan, which speaks to his talent and speaks to his star power. He's one of the most ridiculous finishers I've ever seen, and he had one tonight called off. He's ripping it in. It's like shoulder height with his left foot, and he just rips it upper 90. And there aren't a lot of guys who can do that, and he made it look so easy. I don't think he's done. I don't know whether it's going to be in MLS. I don't know if there's going to be Europe. I don't know whether it's going to be China or the Middle East, but I'm sure he'll still be playing next year. But to me, it does come back to the Galaxy. He wasn't a fix. He was a Band-Aid. They still have to figure out what went wrong with how that roster got built and, frankly, how they played this year. And they have to get it better for 2020.
One more year, Zlatan. You know how I feel about this. Come back to the Galaxy, man. We need more El Tráficos like that. You got something more to prove in this league. And, of course, Atlanta United have something to prove as well. A new head coach, a new star in P. Martinez. He started this match. That was a surprise. Talent. Atlanta United had it. And that tells the story of their win against Philadelphia.
You asked me before the game why a guy like Pity Martinez would start this game, and this is exactly why right here. What a pass. I didn't even see it, and I've been playing soccer for a long time. He saw the run from Gressel behind him, laid the weight of the pass perfectly, and Gressel with an unbelievable finish.
Gresselmania, his first playoff goal, and Philly had some moments, but Brad Guzan came up bigger in that moment. Charlie?
It was, and a great run. But Brad Guzan, to keep his trail leg out and extended to make that save was fantastic. And at the end, Philadelphia didn't have the presence in the box. It was Fafa Picault and Sergio Santos, and they're making those runs, but they weren't in the box when Philadelphia needed them to shine.
No Kasper Shabilko, and that was massive for them in these playoffs. Just outlasted the Red Bulls over 120. Could not do it in this match. Marco Fabian came on, tried to make a difference. just wide, and then Doyle, well, we kind of know how this is going to end.
Yeah, Mark McKenzie misjudges it, and this was his hardest. Josef had 3 or 4 breakaways similar to this. This was the hardest chance, and he just rifles it upper 90, left-footed. In fact, Atlanta United have essentially a $40 million attack between him and PT and Barco. And let's throw in Julian Gressel as well.
Okay,
in games like this, you gotta bet on talent.
Here are your stats. 12 shots apiece, 5 on target for Atlanta. The only stat that matters. 2 goals, 2-0. Atlanta United moving on. They have not lost an elimination game in 8 tries this year between the Open Cup, Campeones Cup, and the Audi 2019 MLS Cup Playoffs. They will take on Toronto FC, the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, on October 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Got some time to rest, do Toronto FC, maybe even see if Jozy Altidore is going to be healthy for that one as well. Let's go now out to Atlanta, where Jillian Sakovits talked to Julian Gressel about his first ever playoff goal after this match.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of went fast and then really slow, and then it was just in the back of the net. I mean, the ball felt like it was in the air for about 2 minutes. But yeah, I just saw Blake coming out. Pity played a great ball. I was yelling at him to just kind of lay it off blind like he did, and was able to run onto it. And yeah, he came out, and I didn't actually expect the keeper to come out like that, but just figured us to chip it and got a little kiss off the crossbar, and yeah, it went in.
We knew what happened yesterday. We knew we had a fantastic opportunity to host an Eastern Conference final, but we had to take care of business, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy. They gave us everything. Couldn't be more proud of the guys. We fought, we grinded. I tell you what, if we get that many chances in the final, hopefully we got a few more goals in us.
On the other side of it, Brad, your back line, 2nd straight clean sheet. You guys had to make some changes today, tactically, personnel-wise. How proud are you of the group back there?
For sure. We talked about at the beginning of the game, limiting their chances, being difficult to break down, difficult to beat. When you look at our attacking players, we just got to try and keep a clean sheet in the back, let those guys go and win it, and they were able to do that tonight.
Just a lot of grit and a lot of hard work, We're not afraid, even if it's not the prettiest sometimes, to just go out there and play, and fight it out, And I think every time we've stepped into this building and onto this field and there was an elimination game on the line or, a trophy on the line, we've shown up, and that's a big thing.
Here's your bracket in the Eastern Conference. Atlanta, Toronto. What do you think? Jozy Altidore was in New York City, just on a PJ, with Sloane Stephens, not on the field. You like this matchup, Charlie?
I love this matchup. If Omar Gonzalez is back to full health and Jozy Altidore, what a game. Talking about former champions going at it. I mean, you can't ask for a better Eastern Conference final.
They've had dramatic matches before. Remember that game when Sebastian Jovinko, Michael Bradley, Jozy Altidore got booed a little bit? We'll see how those fans welcome Toronto FC in. Couvar's a long time ago, but this is going to be a huge match for both clubs. Let's take a look now at the 2 goals for Atlanta. Doyle, you do the honors, man.
Yeah, before the game we talked about how Josef Martinez really struggled against New England in terms of his movement off the ball. He just wasn't as sharp, wasn't as dangerous. Well, the old Josef showed up in this one, and he helped on the first, even though he didn't touch the ball, he helped on the first goal. And you're going to see all the room that he creates right here because he commands so much attention. He brings 1, 2, 3 defenders from Philadelphia with him. You want to know how Julian Gressel gets so open, finds so much space on the back post? It's because of Josef's movement. He is the guy that you have to track, and you can see it from this angle. It's perfect. They all bend with him into his run. That allows Julian Gressel to get a ton of space. Andre Blake, not a good choice, but almost no other choice at that point. Gravity matters. What you do off the ball matters. That's how you open space for your teammates. Josef's done that from day one in his MLS career. Perfect example of it on that first goal.
Josef Martinez, the goal king. We know about that. Guys, you had some thoughts as you watched this game about what he brings, and it made out of it his best, but it's always good enough, it seems, in these moments, Sacha.
Josef is a killer. He's a straight-up killer, and his mentality is some of the best I've ever seen as a striker. You could see how angry he was when he missed a chance to make it 3-0. The game was over at that point. It didn't matter, but he wants his goals. So even though he missed a few chances tonight, the goal he scored tonight was a dagger. It killed Philly, and it ended the game, and that's what he can bring week in and week out.
He puts the pressure on himself to deliver. And I always say, he wants a hat trick. That should be his baseline every game. 1 goal's not good enough, 2 goals, and when he does get a hat trick, he's still looking for more. And when you see this, how can you not be inspired as a teammate not to settle? And I think that's what is so great about him on the field is he's always pushing his teammates to deliver.
Scary thing too, Doyle, we haven't seen the best from Josef yet. What if he starts to show that?
I mean, I feel like we did see it over the summer when he scored in about 15 straight games. And you know, this second half in particular, he started to look like the old Josef. He wasn't as clinical in front of the net as we expect from him, as we, show you this absolute thunderbolt of a left-footed finish from him. But you know that's in there from him. But the more important thing, as Charlie said, like, I think he inspires his team. You usually don't think of the center forward necessarily as the emotional leader, as the spiritual leader. Strikers are just off by themselves, doing their own thing. But like Josef, you could see they rally to him. They feed off his energy. And 70,000 or 50,000, however many were there tonight, fans in the stands, they do the same thing and it elevates this whole team.
There were questions, though, for Atlanta United and Frank de Boer, and he had to make some decisions about that back line. Now, Philly didn't have Kasper Schmeichel, so they weren't at full strength to threaten them. How did you think Atlanta did, Charlie, in their sort of changes? Flo Pogba going to 4 in the back at times, Mikey Ambrose, did that work?
It worked because they got the win and they got a shutout. But I thought the play from Brad Guzan today was phenomenal to anticipate those balls over the top because Fafa Picault is going to beat the majority of defenders in MLS in a foot race. And so when they play those high lines, if Brad Guzan is ready to anticipate those balls and come off his line, phenomenal, and he did that tonight.
Brad Guzan is a winner. He's been a winner for most of his career. He's got so much experience, and that play right there that they just showed, that save, is a game-changing save. In the playoffs, it's all about moments, and that moment, that save in the 17th minute to keep the game 1-0 for Atlanta, it's a momentum changer, and Brad is a winner. He's a leader. He's a big part of their team.
When you think about Miles Robinson, you think about Michael Parkhurst, the possibility they could play next Wednesday, I believe it is. How important is that to Atlanta's title hopes, Doyle? Does it hinge on that, or can they do it without him?
I'm not convinced they can do it without him. No disrespect to Philadelphia, who had a great year, took a big step forward as a club, but it's not the same thing as Toronto FC. It's just not. Toronto just can put more talent on the field. We saw what they did to NYCFC last night. Even without Josie, you have Pozuelo orchestrating the game. You have those wingers getting forward. You have Michael Bradley orchestrating from deep. Though that is something that Atlanta deserves a ton of credit for in this one. Harris Medunjanin had a shocker. Harris Medunjanin is usually just clockwork out there, pinging balls, diagonals, or playing across his hips through the lines. He couldn't do any of that tonight against this Atlanta defense. They were packed in. They kept the lines tight. It was really well done from the Five Stripes.
I ranked sort of pressure on teams heading into this round of the playoffs. I said LAFC was number 1. They're the best regular season team of all time. They need that title to validate their legacy and their work. I said Atlanta was second with pressure, despite the fact that they won last year. Do you guys agree with that? How much pressure are they under to get another trophy, to win MLS Cup, to repeat?
Well, because they won last year, they're under pressure. You always want to back yourselves up, especially when you're playing in front of your home fans, 40,000, 50,000. Atlanta will always be under pressure, and they'll feel that pressure. But they're a very good team. I think 2 shutouts to start the postseason, that's huge. That's huge for them. They got to keep this thing going.
And for me, winning Campeones Cup really showed them coming together and how they can beat a quality opponent at home in tough circumstances and play with a passion. Darlington Nagbe was phenomenal in that match, but I was really impressed with them, how they went about their approach. They dominated. You never felt like they were in doubt of winning. And when you can come together after a performance like that, you're gaining necessary experience for this year to come into MLS Cup playoffs and make another run.
3rd year, that's Atlanta's trophy cabinet. For Philly, a decade in or so. Nothing yet, Doyle. Nothing yet, but a big offseason. They could really go for it in this offseason if they make the right moves, keep the right players, Jamiro Montero, et cetera, et cetera. What should the Union do?
Well, I mean, they have to keep Jamiro Montero. He wasn't great tonight, but he's been great for them all year long. But you look at this roster, it's a lot of guys who are on the high end in terms of age. Medunjanin is, I think, 34, Bedoya, 32, Elsinio, 32, 33, even Marco Fabian, who I don't think will be back, he's 30. And then you have Brendan Aronson, 18, Mark McKenzie, 20 years old. They don't have a ton of guys in their prime. I do wonder what this team would look like if they had one or two more DPs, one or two more high-level guys who are 25, 26 years old who could get in there and win a game like this.
Sergio Santos was very poor today. And I think what we've seen with him throughout the whole season is being inconsistent. And Kasper Šibilko in this situation is 15-goal scorer, 4 assists, stability, someone you can play through. That's what they needed tonight. And if Sergio Santos was the player because Kasper was out, you need him to do more. Like Doyle told me earlier, he only completed 4 passes. From your center striker, that's not good enough. You're not going to win on the road when you're only completing 4 passes.
Big decisions for Ernst Tanner and Jim Curtin. Their season is over, though, out in the conference semifinals. Now we have the conference finals to look forward to. We already talked about Seattle and LAFC. So, Sacha, let's dig in on Toronto and Atlanta. Who's got the edge in this one? Champions from 2017 and champions from 2018.
A very good matchup. Both teams got to be feeling good about themselves, but I think the edge leans pretty much in the direction of Atlanta right now. If Josie comes back, like we talked about last night, he is a game changer. Atlanta, though, 18 shutouts this season in all competitions now. They're winners. They've won the Open Cup. They won Campeones Cup. They're MLS Cup defending champions. I think they have the edge right now.
Could the Pozuelo false 9 trouble Atlanta? Is there any way of that? Because it doesn't feel like Josie is going to be back in a starting capacity.
I mean, what us idiots know? We thought it wasn't going to trouble NYCFC at all.
Good point.
And it kind of ripped them apart, right?
The thing is that Atlanta plays, they play almost man v man at the back sometimes, and they follow guys around. So imagine Gonzalez Perez trying to follow Pozuelo so deep into midfield. That opens up so much space.
Yeah.
They can exploit him. But Brad Guzan has come up huge in those moments early in games to keep them in. So we'll see.
They're a key for you, Charlie?
Well, the key is, even if you do get Josie Altidore back, he's been on the sidelines. You're talking about sharpness, match fitness. Same with Omar Gonzalez. Against an in-form defending champions, the edge goes to the home team in Atlanta. But like we saw with New York City FC, they have a belief, Toronto right now. They're playing with an incredible amount of confidence, and they believe that they can do this. That's scary for defending champions with all the pressure from the home fans to win. You're expected to win. All the pressure's on Atlanta United. For Toronto FC, they're just going in there and they're going to have fun. They're just going to put their heads down and work.
Early predictions right now. Give it to me. What is MLS Cup? Go right down the table. We'll start with you, Matt.
It's LAFC hosting Atlanta. And I don't have any good reason for the eastern side of that other than Atlanta's at home, and you're kind of dumb if you don't pick the home teams at this point. Go ahead, Sacha.
I wish we could. I wish we could banter or something and talk, but I completely agree with you. I think the 2 home teams are going to win, and I think we're going to have a really good final in LA.
I'm doing the same thing.
All right.
I'm not going to go crazy.
Home teams in the playoffs. After he
throw
your arms up and tell us
Do you want me
something.
to jinx?
No.
Do you want me to jinx?
Throw any jinx you want out there.
I can throw the jinx out there.
He said you'd be dumb to pick against that and kind of set us up on that one, huh?
If there was an upset, it's going to be TFC beating Atlanta. That's going to be the upset. It's not going to be Seattle. Even though they have a ton of experience, I just don't think Seattle's strong enough in the back line. And playing at home, LA, they're just so dominant. Toronto, they're playing very strong right now, the belief. And if you do get Josie Altidore back, who can come off the bench, you're talking about a weapon, that would be the upset.
Charlie's come full circle on the Reds. You heard it here first. That would be the upset. He says, we have a great week coming up for us. 2 more games to see who will play in MLS Cup on November 10th. Before we get you out of here, let's just show you the highlights one more time. It's been a wonderful Audi 2019 MLS Cup Playoffs. And we'll start in Queens at Citi Field, Sacha. NYCFC, the number 1 seed, Toronto not, but it was Toronto.
Toronto, Pozuelo again. Really focus on his first touch here. He does so well to set himself up at a good angle to just pass it around Sean Johnson. Maxi Morales with a good cross to the back post. Ajuri Shradi with a really difficult finish. And then Richie Larea, difference maker. Pozuelo with the dink down the middle.
There you have it, 2-1. Toronto are moving on. They're saying, don't doubt us. Don't doubt Alejandro. We don't need Josie, not yet anyway, but the Sounders, they got their win, Doyle.
Yeah, it's the goalkeeper right there. But this is one of the greatest all-time playoff performers, Nico Ladero. Nearly gets a banger to open it up, just checking the paint job right there. And I thought the Sounders would be all over him, but they weren't. It took over an hour for the breakthrough to come on the near post. You'd want to see RSL do better. The veterans getting a little bit roasted right there. And then the coup de grace from that man, Nico Ladero, a superstar in this league, a superstar in his home country of Uruguay, one of the greats.
3 out of 4 years in the conference final for the Sounders. 3 out of 4 years for Toronto as well. Claps for Nick Rimando. His career is over. What a career it was. Pity Martinez back in the lineup, Charlie.
And it's this quality right here is one of the reasons he's the South American Player of the Year. The no-look pass to Gressel, who just sees Andre coming off his line and chips it to the back post. What a clinical finish. Brad Guzan, immense. Anticipating plays, making those big saves, being resilient all night. And then, who else? Josef Martinez getting on the end of this. You think, okay, he doesn't have an angle here. No, doesn't matter. Rips it over the shoulder of Andre Blake. 2-0, cruise control for Atlanta United.
This version of MLS has Magic Johnson with Falcons and Will Ferrell, Sacha. And LAFC finally beating the Galaxy.
With some beautiful goals tonight, especially that first one. You can see all the emotion from Carlos Vela after he scores it. Love it.
Kept pouring on.
What a pass right here. I just love watching good soccer, and dragging out the goalkeeper and laying it across the goal for a tap-in is just beautiful.
Offside, onside? Anybody got thoughts here?
It's very close. It was really, really close.
You thought it was over here until there's a gaff, and then who but Zlatan Ibrahimovic? Yes.
Beautiful goals, ugly goals.
It doesn't matter. They all count. And you thought it was okay. Here comes LA, but then Carlos Vela, being the MVP this year, finds Rossi, who makes no mistake, puts it low, far post, and that was the game changer right there. Crushes LA Galaxy's confidence, and then LAFC were rolling.
Rolled on. Adama Diomande. Bob is jacked up, as he has a right to be. They finally got over the hump. The elephant is off LAFC's back. The Galaxy are going home, as are the Union. We are down to 4 teams in the Audi 2019 MLS Cup Playoffs. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. I know we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Final thoughts before we get you out of here. Sacha, thanks for joining us. What'd you think, man?
Thanks for having me, guys. I can't wait to watch the conference finals. MLS Cup's going to be great.
You stick around? You going to stick around in New York?
If you guys will have me, I love talking soccer.
Come on, yeah, huh?
Benny's already renting out the back room.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. He found a place to sleep. All right, that's it for us. We'll be back next week with much, much more. All the coverage, MLSsoccer.com, the MLS app, YouTube, everywhere you can find us. Your bracket. Here's how it looks. LAFC Sounders, Toronto, Atlanta. MLS Cup, November 10th. It's coming, folks.
Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la.
Belt to turn.